Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Big Akar Ahmed, and welcome to today's video. Today, we are going to be watching a little bit of Bernie Sanders, our Jewish homeboy who's out here in the United States. He is a senator, and he has ran for president multiple times. And Bernie Sanders is just that, really nice, humble sounding old dude, like the grandpa you want to be around. I don't trust any politicians. I do not advocate for Bernie Sanders. I can give zero nothings about Bernie Sanders. But it is interesting to see people amongst the same side of politics or people within politics actually talking against each other and having different viewpoints on specific subjects, especially when our country is directly involved in something or we're funding something. I think it's important that the people of our country, the people who run our country, speak about it, right? So we're going to go ahead and check this out. And here, let me get the video up real quick. There we go.
Joining me now is Senator Bernie Sanders, independent Vermont. He chairs the Health, Education, and Labor Committee. It's good to have you, Senator. First, so some context here. My understanding is that it is already the case under U.S. law, and this is due to things that happened during the Cold War.
By the way, they are talking about Hamas and Palestine, and they're talking about Israel, and they're talking about the weapons that the United States is sending to Israel. They're talking about what happened October 7th, what happened before October 7th. They're having a discussion about Israel and Palestine.
The U.S. was supplying arms to various governments that were using those arms then for human rights abuses, that it's already a part of U.S. law that the State Department has to certify when they give weapons to anyone, doesn't matter who it is, that those weapons are not being used to violate international humanitarian law.
That's right.
So what he's saying is the United States has constantly given weapons to other countries, and those countries have to make sure they utilize our weapons that we're funding and giving them in a humanitarian way. They cannot go and break international law and commit war crimes utilizing United States weapons, or United States is also due responsible for those war crimes.
Chris, this is a long-standing law that says something that's very sensible. If the taxpayers of this country are providing military equipment to any nation on earth, we have to make sure that that country is using it consistent with international law and human rights. This is long-standing. That's correct.
And so,
pretty much common sense, guys. Pretty much common sense. We pay taxes. We need to know where our money's going. If our money is going to breaking international law and causing terrorism and murder across the planet, then I don't want to pay taxes anymore, right? So there is laws that should protect us from that. Where are they?
explain to me what the vote was on yesterday in that context.
What the vote was on yesterday was to have the State Department do a study on whether or not Israel was violating international law and human rights. And given the fact that many of the weapons that Israel has used in the last 100 days come from the United States of America, we certainly have a right to know that. My view from day one, Chris, has been that Israel has the right to respond to Hamas's barbaric attack on October 7th, but they do not have the right to go to war against the entire Palestinian people, which is what we are seeing right now. And as you've just mentioned, the humanitarian situation in Gaza now is unbelievably bad, and we're looking at the possibility of hundreds of thousands of children starving. We cannot allow that to happen.
You know, we've had reporting throughout here, and I think it's quite established.
So, Mr. Bernie Sanders realizes that there is a big problem happening right now. Gaza is undergoing a very, very huge problem. There are hundreds of thousands of people in a situation where they could starve and die, and not just people, but children. He understands that October the 7th is not something that should have happened, and it did happen, and Israel does have the right to defend itself. Israel should do something about anything that happens to them. If I hit you, you deserve to hit me back, right? But to the level that they are doing it, they do not have the right to go in and go to war with all Palestinian people because Hamas wanted to do this. They do not have the right to go ahead and bombard and destroy hundreds of thousands of people if not millions of people, and displace them from their homes and their homeland and destroy their homes and kill them and so forth.
That the Biden administration, through Secretary Blinken, through Jake Sullivan, even in person-to-person calls between the president and Benjamin Netanyahu, have been urging a timeline, a vision for a post-conflict form of reconstruction, to ratchet down the intensity and scale of bombardment. As of yet, that doesn't seem like it's happening. I just wonder, like, as a U.S. senator, does anyone have any sense of a timeline here? Is this when this phase of this war might end?
Before he even answers, this war isn't ending. It's not ending till one of the sides is gone. I can promise you guys this. Israel wouldn't have started this and did what they did if... I'm so sorry, I started eating a Tootsie Roll. If they weren't prepared to go all in. Bibi, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, would listen to his allies, the United States and Great Britain, and stop doing the things that he's doing. Like Joe Biden has already spoke against this, and Bibi's just like, I don't care. So that's a problem. Israel has no plan on stopping. And if Israel has no plan on stopping, and they're calling for ceasefire, and the world's calling for this, and they're calling a genocide, Israel's still not stopping, you best believe every Palestinian that grows up in the next 20 years, doesn't matter if they're from Gaza or from the West Bank, if they're born in America, they're going to hate you. They're going to have just initial hate for the state of Israel and for Jewish people. It's going to be very, very hard moving forward from this state on, from this point on, with Israel just pulling back off. Like, either finish the job, right? Or like, what are you doing it for, right? It's all or nothing. You're going to be a basketball player, you got to be LeBron James. You're going to go to war, terminate the whole other country. Listen, right now is very, 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 very scary for the world. The issue that is going on is as old as human history goes. This goes all the way back to Prophet Abraham. He had 2 wives, he had 2 babies. This is a continuation of that.
I think there is a huge frustration when we see President Biden appropriately saying that he is concerned about indiscriminate bombing and the humanitarian disaster, urging Netanyahu and his right-wing government to do the right thing. And Netanyahu basically says, hey, screw you. We will do exactly what we want to do and when we want to do it. So the bombing right now, what we are looking at, I want people to appreciate this.
That's exactly what I said. Netanyahu was just like, screw you, buddy.
70% of the housing units in Gaza have been damaged or destroyed. You got 1.9 million people who have been displaced from their homes. They need food, they need water, they need medical supplies. As I mentioned a moment ago, children are now on the verge of starvation. This is not what the people of America want when they provide billions of dollars to Israel. And it's high time that we told Netanyahu that he's not getting another nickel unless he radically changes his attitude towards the Palestinian people and the nature of his military campaign.
Awesome statement, Mr. Bernie Sanders. Basically what he's saying is Netanyahu is a spoiled child. He is the child that you continue to give money or give candy or give things to, and then every single time he acts out or does something bad, you just kind of give him the pass and keep giving him money. So he never learns. He doesn't care what America has to say because America is going to keep giving him money no matter what America has to say. So what he is saying, what Mr. Bernie Sanders is saying, is stop giving these people money. Stop giving Benjamin Netanyahu money and stop funding the state of Israel with our tax dollars to fund a genocidal, destructive war, right? And see how fast Netanyahu changes his stance when he's not getting funded and he can't defend himself properly. We'll see how fast his plan changes, is basically what Mr. Bernie Sanders here is saying.
2 of your colleagues, I think...
And I do respect the fact that he's able to actually come out and call this a genocide, saying they're displacing 1.9 million people, showing you that hundreds of thousands of children are going to die probably from starvation and lack of hydration and things of this nature and illness and disease, and they don't have hospitals and They can't clear their wounds and infections. So the fact that he's even just getting up here on the news and counteracting everything that's going on within our own government, within our own society and system, props to you. Do I think that they're all one team, and do I think that it really matters? No, at the end of the day, it's all one big propaganda machine, and even if they tell you the truth or don't tell you the truth, they steer it the way they want to steer it, and they make it fit their narrative the way they want to make it fit their narrative. So even though this may look a specific way, like, oh, look at Bernie Sanders standing up for Palestine, the United States stands for Palestine, it's kind of like to calm certain people down, kind of be like, oh, look, the United States does care, even though they don't. It's like, it's like a calm, where it's like, yo, chill out. Look, this guy cares, even though like no one else does or no one's doing anything about it. We're saying things about it. So that's basically what this is. It's like reward points for the United States of America. It's like when you give to charity. So, like, Kim Kardashian gives a charity to make herself look good in the news. Like, oh, look, Kim Kardashian gives $1 million to Cancer Society to make herself look good. That's pretty much what this is. It's to make America look good.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Senator Van Hollen and Senator Merkley both went to Rafah.
Right.
That, of course, is the border town between Gaza and Egypt proper. And Jeff Merkley wrote this. I just want to read it to you and get your reaction, because there's a bunch of issues in getting that humanitarian aid in. Senator Merkley writing that trucks filled with food, water, and medical supplies are lined up waiting to be granted entry into Gaza. Even if all the items on a truck have been pre-approved by Israel to ensure they are not, quote, dual-use items that have a potential military purpose, Israeli authorities can and do still reject some items as an inspection site. And then this is interesting. And if a single item is rejected, the entire truckload is rejected. How concerned are people, you and your colleagues, about the specter of mass starvation, which is what the World Food Program is warning about?
To me, it's unbelievable. I mean, how do you say concerned? I would hope that we're more than concerned. We are sitting here supplying the Netanyahu government with the arms they need, and in the process of starving hundreds of thousands of children. Concern is too modest a word. We have got to act, and we've got to act now. What Merkley was talking about is not only is...
Just like my last video, we have to act, and we have to act now. Not everything's about a plan. Not everything is planned out and you know what's going to happen. Something's happening now. What are you going to do about it right now? Not next week, not next year. Now, what is your plan? What are you going to say? What are you going to talk? No one cares. Bernie Sanders is right. No one cares if you get up on a stage and you tell us your 10-step plan on how to fix the issue. We want you to actually fix the issue. Screw telling us your plan. Make it happen. Fix the issue. Stop the kids from starving. Stop these people from dying. Stop the war. Stop the genocide. Stop the BS. Stop funding Israel to become an apartheid, genocidal, frick, I can't even say it. Dictatorship of a government.
The bombing making it impossible for trucks. You know, if you're a truck driver trying to deliver your goods, you're not going to do it when you're getting bombed. But in addition to that, what Israel has done at the border has made it extremely difficult for these trucks to get through. And bottom line here is we cannot turn our backs on the enormity of the suffering that is now taking place in Gaza. We have got to act.
You are...
Those clips they're showing you right there is so, like, if there was a scale from 1 to 100, 1 being the best looking in like paradise in Gaza, and then 100 being like the worst, like hell in Gaza. They're showing you the 1 clips, the 1-2s. They're showing you at the beginning of the scale. They're showing you like the cleanest, nicest looking clips they could possibly get you of Gaza and like kids and things like that. They're not showing you like dismantled bodies in the hospitals and like all of like the terrorist attacks Israel has gone ahead and committed over the last 100 days. But
a Jewish American, you have family that was killed by Hitler. You've talked about that. You're the closest, I think, any American Jewish candidate has ever come to the presidency, or at least a nominee.
So this guy is actually Jewish. When I say he's actually Jewish, I mean this guy follows the religion of Judaism, so his values are a little more there. He's not like just like this Zionist, I'm a Jew by blood. He's more of like, I follow the religion. I have a little bit more morals. I take those morals and I wear them on my chest, and that's what makes me a good politician. That's what makes people trust me. That's what gives people more honest stance. That's what provides more balance in the government. Is my stance, my religious views, and my morality. And that's where Bernie Sanders pitches, and that's where his fame really comes from. Is that relatability that he has. And yes, he is 100% Jewish. Bernie Sanders is a Jewish man.
And you were in Israel in a kibbutz in your youth. This has been just a wrenching time, I think, for international and American Jews. What do you feel and think as a Jew watching all this play out in these last 100 days?
Well, Chris, what I would hope that no matter what my religious background is, I would respond accordingly. If this was taking place in Italy or in Ireland, I would feel the same way. But I have to tell you, having spent months in Israel as a kid, knowing the history of anti-Semitism and the Holocaust, for me to see a right-wing Israeli government create this kind of misery in Gaza is extraordinarily upsetting. No question about that.
Senator Bernie Sanders, thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
Well, awesome, guys. Awesome talk from Bernie here. Like I said, I don't trust any politicians. I don't like any of them. I don't believe anything 90% of these guys say. That doesn't mean the things that they say aren't true. That doesn't mean that what he just said right here is not 100% true fact. And there needs to be something done. There needs to be something done now, ASAP. The world's going to sit by and watch this. I'm going to chant on Twitter. I'm going to chant on Facebook and make it stop. It's not going to do anything. There's a line. I'm doing a whole documentary about music, and I know music is satanic and evil and whatnot, but there is a line from one of my favorite artists, and his name is Logic. The reason I like Logic because he preaches this peace, love, positivity pitch. He doesn't preach like bitches, money, things like that. And it goes, real shit is going on in Lebanon, but I don't give a F. My favorite show is coming on. Hashtag pray for this, pray for that, but you ain't doing shit. Get away from that. Blame it on the black, blame it on the white, blame it on the gun, blame it on the Muslim. Everybody want to blame him, blame her, just blame it on the mother effer killing everyone. So what is he saying? Everyone is sitting there on their phones, and all they care about is their next show that's coming on. All they care about is the next YouTube video they're going to watch. All they care about is playing Call of Duty with the boys tonight. All they care about is what they care about. But they see injustice in the world going on. So what they do, they take out their phone, hashtag pray for Black Lives Matter, hashtag pray for India, hashtag, free Palestine. And this is what we do. But in essence, we don't really care. We're just worried about our favorite show. And then the media and the news and everyone, instead of blaming the person that's killing people, they blame it on the black, they blame it on the white, they blame it on the gun, they blame it on the Muslim, but they don't blame it on the person that's actually killing everyone. You get what I'm saying? So that's one of my, really, that line really hits hard. When I heard that line, it really, really relates to the way I think and I envision and I see the world and I see the media. And that's just how it goes. If you want to make a difference, you need to make a difference. Like me talking about this, I try to talk about it as much as I can, and I try to blast this in people's face, and I want people to see what's going on over there, and I want people to understand this is super important. This is history in the making. This is going to shape the world and the economic standing of the world. It's going to change the way we believe, the way we think, the way we move, the way we operate in the world. I promise you guys, this is a huge, huge deal. This is an issue that is as old as human history, and they are trying to push it even further into explosion. And this is not a good time. This is not a good thing. You need to stop this. If we do not stop this, this could be very, very much destruction and almost like the end of our civilization as humans. We're talking about the Jewish people, the oldest monotheistic people on the planet, and they are going ahead and trying to displace, after they've been displaced almost 100 years ago, they're trying to displace the Muslim monotheists, who are the last living religion, who believe they're the right religion. And if it comes down to the prophecies and it comes down to all these signs, they're coming, they're happening, and they have happened. And it's getting kind of weird, it's getting kind of scary. And I pray that the whole world is safe. I pray that all my listeners and viewers are safe. And that's why I do this, is kind of just whistle blow, allow people to think, allow people to know things. I prefer nothing to happen, nothing bad to happen. I prefer the whole world to be good. I prefer those prophecies not to happen. And I prefer the devil not to be real. And I prefer not to go to hell. And I prefer a lot of these things not to happen. But sometimes you have to live in reality, and sometimes you got to look around, and you have to be prepared in case something does happen, and you have to be mentally stable enough and physically stable enough to take on the things that the world is going to throw at us. And yeah, that's what we're doing here. Thank you guys for coming in today. Awesome video. Thank you, Bernie Sanders, for the information. And until next time, God bless and free Palestine.